this video is directed towards Ariana Grande and what she's going through. Um, some things that I've read, and I think this is really relevant to everybody out there as far as relationships and breakups are concerned, and the common struggles dealing with that, and just mental health in general. I think everybody could learn from this type of video, but it's mainly aimed at Ariana Grande as far as what she's going through. First, what I've read was that she had a concert and people showed up to the concert and there was like a killing going on in the concert. I think like over 20 people got killed at her concert, and that alone is a dramatic experience that she went through. And then she was dating Mac Miller at the time, and he helped her through that struggle. It's said that they dated for about 2 years, and he had some type of drug problems, and that supposedly became a determining factor for her to break up with him eventually. And then she moved on really quick to this new dude on Saturday Night Live. I think his name's Pete Davidson. And then they got engaged like quick. Within a few weeks they got engaged. So she dated Mac Miller for a couple years. Immediately she jumps to a new dude and then gets engaged. Mac Miller ends up getting a drug overdose, and he ends up basically killing himself. So he died, and then most recent news is that she just broke up with the Pete Davidson dude, like just recently. So that's the thing that's going on with her, and the video's designed to kind of help reach out to her, to speak about the things that she's going through from a real perspective, from both sides. In which, for me, honestly, I think meditation is really important in this moment to deal with these situations. But my thing is, there's people on Twitter blaming her, saying that it's her fault that Mac Miller died, and then there's people coming to her defense saying, how dare you say that? People shouldn't be, feel like they're not able, they shouldn't be, that it's wrong for them to leave a relationship where a person is abusing drugs and things like that. But my thing I want to bring up is, why would you date somebody for 2 years that is going through those types of problems? It's like those things should already be like identified early in the relationship, and then you should exit early on. But when you wait for 2 years, it's already a pretty long time to go through to be with somebody for that long, and then all of a sudden, then you just want to exit the relationship and say like, what, I can't handle this anymore because of you're abusing drugs and things like that. The other thing that I want to bring up is that when you move on to the new person that you're with, I think it's gonna be really difficult to move on to somebody brand new when you've been with somebody for 2 years, and say if the person's in love with you and all that, then you kind of, it's gonna hurt them a lot more if you just be with somebody new so quickly, and you already know that they're going through some issues with drugs or some depression. I think there's a certain way to do it. I think it's just more important to be more private with the way, that you move on to the next person, opposed to just being like, hey, the whole world, but the whole world know that I'm with somebody new, and then now I'm engaged and things like that. I think that, to me, it's kind of like a disrespect to your past relationship if you just put everything on blast so quickly, and then just like, it's almost like the past relationship didn't affect you. It wasn't important to you, and then I heard that right after the relationship breakup, he got in a car accident, and then, not even like a year after that, he ends up dead. I think it's just people have to be more careful when they engage in relationships, and just be more understanding in how it can affect a person from the inside, and like people, no matter if it's man or woman, just jumping from one relationship to the next, to me is not being responsible. You know, you gotta be more careful of choosing your partners and sharing yourself with somebody deeply in that way. Otherwise, these types of things can happen. I mean, people can just outrightly commit suicide, or they could do more of like a slow death through just abusing drugs and alcohol, whatever the case may be. And I think we have to take some responsibility, you know, for the decisions that we make in our lives that affect the people that are close to us. I think that if she, say, took some time and, you know, didn't engage in a new relationship right away, but just remained single for a while and just kind of let things smooth over before moving on, you know, potentially, you know, he might still be living in a way, in my eyes, you know, because I think that he probably, you know, suffered severe depression that was basically not properly treated after the breakup. This also ties in what happened with Selena Gomez recently. She was in a mental hospital, and she admitted that part of the reason that she's in there is because of Justin Bieber and the breakup with him. And then it's the same thing that happened, but just kind of on the flip side, where he ends up moving on with somebody brand new, like the Haley Baldwin girl, and they got engaged right away. And then now Selena Gomez is in a mental hospital, and part of the reason she's in there is because of the breakup. And because she's a woman, she feels more comfortable openly admitting that. But in Mac Miller's case, I think there's more ego and pride, and the fact that he's a male, that he would not want to admit to the pain and just kind of make it seem like everything's okay, that he's fine, and that he's happy for Ariana. But I think the reality was that he was going through a lot of depression and that he needed help. And I think for her to move on with somebody else so quickly like that, it's like, you know, it's not, to me, it's very like, it makes it so much tougher for the person that she broke up with to be able to recover, you know, rather than saying, hey, you know what, let me be single for a while, or maybe even wait for him to start dating before, or find somebody new before she starts openly advertising that she's with somebody brand new. Also, I would say, if you're with somebody and you know that that's not the right person for you, and why would you blast out all these photos showing like how in love you are with them and putting it all over social media? It just makes it so much harder to deal with the breakup when the whole world's coming down on you and asking you what happened. Oh, why'd y'all break up? It just makes it so much harder. But if they had more of a private relationship and not that many people knew about it, and there's not all these photos floating around social media and everything, the breakup is going to be easier to deal with, because there's not going to be so many people, like thousands and millions of people, you know, putting in their 2 cents of what happened. You know, so I think there's responsibility that goes on with the engagement of these relationships. I think in a way, when you blast out to social media, hey, look at all these lovey-dovey photos, it's, in a way, that's almost like it's even potentially even more powerful than the actual marriage, because you're letting the whole world know that you guys are in love. And then after a couple years, oh, you know, no, we're not in love anymore, I'm with this new guy now, and I'm engaged to this new guy. It's like, then why'd you put all those photos up blasting out the relationship as if this is going to be forever, and then now you're with somebody new like this quick? I mean, and as a man, Mac Miller being a rapper as well, that's a big hit on the ego. Like, hey, you know, you can't even keep a good woman. Like, who are you? And it's almost to the point where he could just have like nothing to live for anymore.
Yeah, I want to jump in?
Yeah.
First, I just want to express my condolences. I know that this happened a little while ago, but my condolences to Mac Miller and his family, and also to the pain of anyone who is going through that type of experience where they've lost a loved one suddenly, or by their own hands, intentionally or unintentionally. And also to all those who are experiencing heartache or who have experienced heartache from a breakup. There is there seems to be this trend going on that actually has been going on for a very long time, on how we make others responsible for our own actions. And it's challenging because when it comes to matters of the heart, there's so much that can be said. There's so many different perspectives, and coming from a place where I've had my heart broken several times, and I'm sure that I might have broken some hearts as well, I would say unintentionally, but just being in a position where, I believe we have all experienced this type of heartache. One of the things that I believe we have to first remember is that we are responsible for our actions. And when I say that, I've seen a lot of people giving up their power to be well, to be effective, to be healthy, because they put the responsibility or the blame for those things on others. And please forgive me if I appear or sound insensitive, because that is not my intention. My thing is, as individuals, we have to first make sure that we are in a good place. We have to, there is a scripture in the Bible that says, love others as you would love yourselves. So in Tao, what it says is you have to first love yourself before you can love anyone else, because to love anyone else, you have to model that after how you love yourself. Love others as you love yourself. So if we don't take out the time to really care for ourselves and address what our needs are, and take the time to discover who we truly are in our truest essence, and to seek out advice and help or support, especially in times when you're spent, when you don't know what to do. And those times could be, heartache from, relationships. It could be family issues. It could be financial issues. It could be health issues. We are human beings, and we all have something that we're dealing with. We all have a challenge that we have to face. It is just the way of the world. Everyone has their challenge. And what I've learned is, it's healthy. It's a healthy way of being to really take your heart and your well-being, your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, your physical well-being into consideration, and to make sure that you're in a good place, and to do what you can so that you can promote a healthy life in all of those aspects before involving yourself in situations or relationships that, if they negatively impact you, may or may not break you down. And so, in speaking in regard to, the celebrity relationships, understanding that, Hollywood, things are different. Relationships are different. When stuff happens and people, hook up or connect or fall in love, it is public knowledge. It is on the news, the news, tabloids, it's in magazines, it is on award shows, like it's everywhere. And coming to understand that's just the nature of, celebrity and Hollywood, the music industry, all of that. So taking that into consideration, some of the relationships are genuine, some of them are out there just so that the people involved can boost their sales or get their faces out there more. I mean, whatever the reason, I feel that there is a human responsibility to care for one another. And I'm not telling anyone what to do or this is what they have to do. I'm just saying just being a part of the human race. And it's we all have free will to do what we want, but I found that in some situations people will play around with the hearts and with the emotions of others for whatever reason. It may be a relationship that may have been set up or staged. In the case of Hollywood romances, in order to endorse or heighten ticket sales or record sales. But at the end of the day, we have to remember that there are hearts involved. There are human beings with real emotions involved. And speaking specifically in this case, gosh, love and being in love is tough, and it can mess with us when things go awry, or if we feel embarrassed, or if we feel minimized because of the actions of another person. If they break up with you and then they go off quickly to another relationship, and rejection is real and it's hard, and we all have our ways of dealing with it. I commend Gomez because she acknowledged that, look, there's some stuff I need to deal with, and she put herself in a place where she could get the help that she needs. Not everyone knows how to do that.
But what I'm saying is that there's a responsibility on Justin Bieber's end and on Ariana's end, where it's like, okay, I know that I found somebody new and then I'm in love with this new person, but it doesn't mean that they need to like rub it in the face of their ex, or just be patient and just wait. I mean, do you really have to get like engaged like within the first 3 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, but there are some people out there, babe, who will do that. I mean, they don't care.
No, but that's what I'm identifying. The issue is that these people, because I mean, they said that Justin Bieber was crying in the car when he found out that Selena was in the hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily Selena's still alive. But I'm saying, like, and then Ariana, obviously, she went into mourning after she found out that Mac Miller died.
Yeah.
And then now she broke up with Pete Davidson. I would assume that maybe she broke up with Pete because every time she's with this dude, it reminds her of her ex. Be like, shit, this is the dude that I got with right after my ex, and like, it's like, also with energy, is like this person's spirit could still be with you, like haunting you every time you go on the stage. Every time you're with somebody new, you could be thinking about this person that just passed away. And I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna move on to somebody new, first make sure that it's a real relationship. Second, if it is real, be patient and take some time before you like rub it in the face. Oh, I'm in love and I'm gonna get married. I mean, like, it's like common sense to me that if you even respected the relationship that you're in, then how are you going to be engaged with somebody brand new within 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Like this, it's just everybody knows about this whole rebound thing. It's like she basically just rebounded to the dude took her as a rebound out of somebody else, and it's just like everybody needs time to heal and recover from. It's like all I'm saying is that you should take some time, and like even if it is like you found somebody brand new, you're in love, okay, but take some time before you purposefully let the whole world know, or even like to get to the next step. It's like, what does it matter if they get engaged? Like, why couldn't they wait like a year or 2 years or 3?
Mm-hmm. But that's still putting the responsibility and the power of the other person's hand. I'm with you when I say that, as a society we should exercise, more sensitivity when it comes to matters of the heart. I do not believe that it's the right thing to do to play around with someone's emotions or to lie in relationships. But then, everyone has the right to do and to act the way that they're going to. Is it healthy to do that? Absolutely not. And, we have our opinion on, how we would be if, being in love with someone, truly in love with them in the relationship ends, and then the person quickly goes on to another and might end up getting engaged. And we know that happens too. But I feel what needs to be addressed as well, other than, exercising compassion and some type of, modesty when it comes to moving on to the next relationship.
That's what I'm talking about.
So also along with that, I feel that it is a healthy approach to address you, to get to focus on you. One of the things that I was always advised, like by my mom and, my spiritual mom and like my elders, I remember my gram saying it. She was like, babe, you got to stop being so worried about everybody else. You got to stop being so worried about what they're doing, what they're saying, what they might think about you. People going to talk about you, especially when you are successful and you're doing great things. That's when you're really going to get it. Not when you're down and out, not when you don't have anything, not when you're miserable. No, because misery loves company. But when you're doing the right thing and you're progressing and moving forward, that is when you're going to get a lot of people coming at you and speaking ill of you. And so the point that they were making to me in my life as I was going through the many challenges that I had, coming up with relationship and feeling, insecure and low self-esteem and not feeling insignificant, all these things. Their thing was focus on you. Focus on your health, your well-being. Focus on your gifts and your talents. Focus on the purpose in which you were created to do. And if you don't know what that purpose is, take out the time for yourself to start to discover different things, to discover what your purpose is, and to stop worrying so much about what the other person is doing. Because at the end of the day, even though we both feel that in situations like that, matters of the heart and breakups, that there should be some modesty, some modesty or a more modest approach. They're not going to do it. They're going to do what they want to do, when and how they want to do it. There's some people who may watch this video and be like, you know what, I know what they're talking about. But the thing is, along with that, because if the person decides that they don't want to do that, that they don't care about the person, and, we have to care for ourselves. We have to sit and evaluate and allow ourselves to mourn, allow ourselves time to go through the heartache, not stay stuck in it, but to go through it, to seek out advice from a sound source or resource, okay, because sometimes you get advice from the wrong people, and to ask for help if you need it, because like I said, at the end of the day, people are going to do what they want to do, And there are some really insensitive people out there who don't give a damn about the well-being of anybody else but themselves. There are some people who do have a heart, and they do approach, breakups that way, where they're modest about it. And, even in industry, for genuine and real romances and relationships, people may, do that as well. I can't say I'm not an expert on industry romances, but at the end of the day, we also have to step back and focus on us and our healing and our well-being in ways that we can accomplish those. And some people, they know what to do. Some people who do not know what to do, it's okay to seek out help, to seek counsel, wise counsel from someone you trust. Because ending your life, I mean, that is a final decision in a situation that changes quickly. Because with the Mac Miller situation, he's not here anymore. But Grande is no longer with the guy who she was with, that could have been the cause of his extreme heartache and his actions, thereafter. So, I don't know, that's just some of what I have to say. What were you about to say?
Well, I'm just saying the purpose of this video is to kind of educate certain people into identifying and being aware of how these decisions can impact, like, the people around you, and just basically making more sound decisions within your relationships. Because people just don't know. They think, anytime with somebody new, I'm putting that photo up on Instagram or letting the whole world know, and I'm gonna, like jump the gun and engagement or whatever the case may be. I'm just saying, like, the purpose of this video is just kind of to let people know that these decisions that you make, they can seriously impact the people around you. And like, imagine if the Pete dude that she just broke up with, imagine he dies too. He jumps off a building. I mean, like, does it have to happen again in order for you to realize, like, hey, dang, like, every time I date somebody and they get all into me and I break up with them, they take it hard. Well, I'm just saying, not just on Ariana, but just women and men, like, identify, like, notice what's going on and be like, hey, maybe I should choose my partner, like, be more careful before I choose the next partner. Or when I do choose the partner, just be a little bit more modest with how I let the people know that I'm with somebody new. Or just like, hey, let me take some more time before I get engaged. I mean,
that's just a healthy approach to, for all of us, is to definitely, because, you hear it all the time. People get into relationships, and sometimes people fall in love with the facade. We were watching a comedy show, I think it was Chris Tucker. You meet the representative. You don't meet the real person when you go out with them, you meet the representative. And then after you've been with them for a while, then you begin to see the real them, So that's where you're, like, taking the time to first get to know the real person. Because we are always, putting our best foot forward, especially when we are just entering into relationships and getting to know each other. We don't want to let our flaws come through just yet. And, it's because we don't know if they're going to like us with our flaws. But my thing is, along with, what Freddie is saying is, we need to, I don't know, just responsibility. It sounds so stringent and so, like a school teacher, you have to be responsible. But that's what it is being responsible for our actions, because we don't live in a vacuum. We live in a world where what we say and what we do and our actions, I mean, they do affect others' lives. And it's almost, it's like a synergistic relationship where, you know, you do what you need to do to make sure that you're whole and that you're healthy and that you're growing and that you're, you know, you are exploring who you are so that you can fulfill the purpose in which you were created and live your dreams. And, you know, it's, yes, that, and then also take into consideration that as we proceed through this life and make the choices that we make and we encounter the people who we encounter, that we impact lives. Whether or not you are famous or a celebrity, you know, thousands of people, or you know, 10, who we are and our being in this world, we do affect and impact the lives of the people who we touch. And so, you know, I'd be remiss if I was to say that I know what it's like to be, you know, these artists, because I don't. However, I do know what it's like to be a human being. I do know what it's like to be a woman who has had her heart broken and who's experienced joy and who's experienced foul relationships and who's experiencing a great relationship, you know. And just in being aware that my actions and my decisions and who I am, that it does impact the people who I engage with. I strive, I won't even say strive, but it is, it's in my essence to grow and to become aware, not just of me, but how in being me and being who I truly am in me, how I can positively or negatively impact any and everyone who I encounter. And I feel that as a human race, and specifically in the society where we seem to be so inundated with multimedia and making our images flawless, and you know, we are losing the true essence of who we are. And then you start mixing that up with emotions and power, or the feeling of not having power. I mean, it can result in it can have a disastrous outcome. And so I mean, I agree with you, just in working towards practicing that type of thing. You know, it's modesty, that's what I mean when I say that thing, but modesty in relationships and taking into consideration the hearts of the people who you're getting involved with. And you know, I mean, it's,
And like so it said that she, like, after his death, she canceled. She was supposed to be in Saturday Night Live, and she canceled that performance. Kanye West took her spot, and then it said that she had something else performance going on as she was getting ready to perform, but then at the last minute she withdrew because she's still dealing with these emotions from his death and everything, and then now she just broke up with the new dude. And I'm just saying, I think this is a huge learning experience from her, and I hope that she takes the time to find that peace within herself before just getting re-engaged with everything so quickly, because she could end up dying too, you know what I'm saying? Like, she could have a breakdown, because just imagine this thing that happens at the concert. You know, it was your concert, people show up to watch you, and then 20 people die because of that. Imagine how that could affect you. And then imagine if she was just like, oh, you know, not a big deal, next performance tomorrow, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you? You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta be like, take some time to be like, you know, to mourn, or whatever it is, or just like, you know, it's not her fault that happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, she's popular, it ain't her fault, but there's still gonna be time for mourning before you just, let's go. Yeah. Okay, so then, but now she's dating this Mac Miller, she's dating this Mac Miller dude. You weren't dating this dude for 2 months, for 2 weeks. You're dating this dude for 2 years. So obviously there's good things that happen within the relationship. It wasn't just all about his drug problem. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, like, if you break up, you need time to mourn. You can't just be like, oh, you know, new dude, engagement. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying is that she's young and she's in a position of power because millions of people are looking up to her and doing what she does. Yeah. Oh, Ariana's with a new person right. That's fine. Then I'm gonna do the same thing. You're just like, no, like, take the time to like make sure that you at least try to live a better life, a good life, and to learn from your mistakes. So then all your millions of followers don't follow in your footsteps that lead them in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and that's where, and I agree with you there. There is a responsibility that comes with being a celebrity. Some take on that responsibility seriously, and some of them be like, you know, well, it's my life, you know, I'll do what I want to do. And you know what? Everyone has the right to their privacy. However, being a celebrity, and I believe I mentioned this before, not in this video, but anyways, being a celebrity, there is a responsibility that you have because you have people of all ages looking up to you and looking to you as an expert. It is not always fair because, you know, just because you're a music artist or an actor does not mean that you are an expert in life or in life decisions. However, at the same time, you have an entire public, sometimes worldwide, that looks to you as an expert on life just because you're a celebrity. And, you know, and so if you say the sky is red when it's apparent that the sky is blue, you may have some people who will actually start calling the blue sky red. You know, sad but true. And so there is a responsibility in being celebrity. It's Spider-Man's uncle, you know, with what is it?
Great power.
With great power comes great responsibility. And whether or not it is acknowledged, that is the truth when you become a celebrity. Chance the Rapper, I'm a fan of his. I think he's great, and what he's doing in the city of Chicago is amazing. First of all, he's putting millions of dollars toward the school systems because it is sorely needed. And also, he is endorsing and putting monies toward research and the support and the buildup of mental health in his hometown. And it's because these things are there is a serious deficit when it comes to the education of our children, and also in the knowledge and in addressing mental health issues. Serious deficit. And there's a huge population of people who have mental health, not just our mental health, but mental health issues. Some of it is pathological, and some of it is like if you're grieving the death of a loved one, or if you have a depression because things have just been going crazy in your life. There are moments where we always deal with our mental health, and sometimes we do have some issues therein. And so it's remembering how we impact the lives of everyone we encounter, be it personally, or be it through a television screen, or a social media, or a concert, or a movie. We are engaging in the lives of millions of people because the one person who you affect go off and they talk to four. Your influence is going in places that you may not be aware of. And so when it comes to relationships, when it comes to health and well-being, and even in some cases in spiritual practices, there are people listening. If it's one or if it's 1 million. And so, it is it's a stage that many celebrities do not want to step on because not all of us like responsibility. You know, it is a platform with celebrity that once you reach a certain status and you have fans, there is a responsibility that you have. Now, you are entitled, we are all entitled to our privacy, yes. Absolutely, I agree 100%. However, if you choose to put yourself out there in the public eye, and you have millions of people or thousands of people or even hundreds of people who are following you and listening to you and looking up to you, with much power comes much responsibility.
All right, one thing I want to bring up. The way that I found out about her is there was this video that went viral that showed her like licking donuts in a donut shop, and then she was like saying, "Oh, I hate America." You know what I'm saying? That's how I found out. So, like, that video went viral, and she was like dating one of her dancers at that time, and then like later on, you know, like people got mad about the thing because she was saying all this stuff about America and everything. She ended up offering like a public apology. She even made a video apologizing. So what I'm basically saying is that like she's a young woman that has a lot of fame, a lot of power, and she's learning. All I'm saying is learn. You know what I'm saying? Like learn from these situations. You know, so this whole donut licking thing, and then now it's like, you know, dating this rapper, and then it didn't work out, and then now the rapper's dead. And the thing that the people going to her concert. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of things that she's got to learn if things are going to go smooth. It's not going to be good if she doesn't take the time to, you know, step back, maybe start working on some spiritual things, some meditation, and just kind of like shut everything out for a while in order to like gain a greater self-awareness and gain some wisdom. And you know, this stuff is not worth it. How much money you make, how much fame you have, you're just gonna be dead, like, because you didn't take care of yourself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because Mac Miller had money too, had fame too. Now he's dead. So does it matter how much fame, money you have if you're just gonna end up dead? I mean, that's like wasted young talent. He's a young dude too. She's a young woman. She has like a lot of years ahead of her. She's a lot of talent. But if she doesn't take the time to work on this inner stuff, she can end up dead early as well. So she needs to take that time. She can't just jump into back right into the game, just start singing like nothing happened, or just jump into the new relationship like nothing happened. Like you gotta shut all that out and just take the time to build yourself, to get strong and get wise, and just before you start proceeding forward. Because now you got millions of people that want to lick donuts too. Millions of people, oh, I'll just date somebody, break up, and go with somebody new. It's like, you don't want a bunch of Mac Millers out there, people dying over chicks. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, it's like, for them, it was a real love, and they in love with you. And then for you, you're like, oh, you know, time's up, 2 years, that's the most I can stay with anybody, I'm sorry, on to the next dude. And this dude just heartbroken, can't handle it, dies. You don't kill himself. You know, like, stuff like that happens all the time, you know? So I'm just saying, when you're in that position, no matter if it's from a position of fame or you're in a position of a relationship where you decided to break up, I'm saying take that position more modestly, and just be more protective of the person's feelings on how you move on. Yeah. Not just in regards to how her, but just everybody.
Yeah. So it's just practicing compassion, you know, yeah. And in no way trying to tell anyone what to do or how to be. However, again, if you're in a place where, you know, you are involved with someone and hearts are, you know, enwrapped and enveloped in one another, and things don't work out, because that's the nature of some relationships too. Some relationships work out, some do not. And you'll come to learn some things about people that you didn't know when you started the relationship, or you change within the relationship, and breakups occur. However, just taking a more compassionate approach when it comes to the moving on, especially if the person was in love with you or you weren't as in love, but just extending a little compassion and care. And the fact that this person is grieving, you know, even if you are not, even if your heart was not as involved in the relationship, that other person may seriously be grieving. And so, I don't know, initially you may want to take some time before, I mean, if you want to move on like the hour after you break up with them, by all means, that's up to you. But, you know, take some time in consideration before you start putting this thing on blast. Because again, remembering the lives that you interact with, I mean, you impact on all levels, you know, and just, I don't know, I've learned a lot over my years on this earth, and, you know, I have learned that there are going to be people who will not do that. There are people who will not be compassionate. They will not exercise compassion or modesty when it comes to moving on. Some people are going to rub it in your face. And when it comes to that, you have to then begin to reflect on yourself. What are you going to do so that you heal, so that you become better, and so that your broken heart does not destroy you? Because there is life after breakup. There is life after loss. There is life after bankruptcy, or, you know, there is life after the disaster. And so just as, you know, we are hoping that, you know, people will begin to extend more compassion, especially when it comes to romantic relationships going awry, but also in, you know, taking responsibility for your well-being, for your mental health, your emotional health, your physical, your spiritual health especially. Because at the end of the day, you know, if we are not in a good place and if we are not healthy, we cannot optimally function and live out our purpose or be a help to anyone. You know, and so it does come down to self-love and really honing in and focusing on who we are and building our, you know, growing in wisdom, being more meditative, growing in your spirituality, whatever that spirituality is, and, you know, just growing and allowing people to experience you as you grow in your wisdom. You know, it's my hope that those who need the help to get over grief, in this case, you know, Grande, Gomez, and, you know, anyone who's going through heartache, breakup, or grief for whatever reason, for whatever loss, that you will seek the help that you need. Take into consideration your well-being, and then if it is a case of a breakup, the person on the other end, that they exercise some compassion, because we don't know where people are mentally. We don't know where they are emotionally. You know, and so if you've cared about the person at all, even if you weren't as deeply in love, but if you cared about if you care about people, you know, just exercising that type of compassion and consideration, it can go a long way. It can go a long way.
Right, the video's about to be done.
Okay.
But thank you everybody for paying attention and for all your support.
Yeah.
Hope that the video helps some people out there. You know, I just wanted to give a perspective and just honest, truthful, and about relationships in general. So hopefully it helps the people out there. And once again, thank you for your support.